Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Seattle Unity. Thank you so much for coming. Please come on in and take a seat. Welcome to everybody joining virtually as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to start off this morning with a song. I will show you how it goes. So please, as you are able, stand with me. You are the heart, you are the hand, you are the voice, the spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. Join me.
You are the heart
and the hand,
you are the hands, you are the voice, the spirit on earth,
who you are,
and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hand,
the voice,
you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. Let us pray.
And so we do turn our attention within as we know the truth of our opening statement together. There is but one presence and one power in my life and in the universe, God the good, omnipotence.
We'll sing it quietly this time.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart,
the hand, and the voice
of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. Is a blessing to the world. Is a blessing to the world. Thank you. Please be seated.
Good morning, and welcome to Seattle Unity, both in-house and at home. So join with me as we share our mission statement, vision statement together. We are an accessible and inclusive spiritual sanctuary for all ages and stages of life. We offer spiritual practices and a community that honors diversity and encourages self-empowerment. We co-create a world that works for all. Can I get an amen? All right. So for those at home, please type names in the chat box that you would like prayed for. And if for those of us in the room, there is a prayer box over there. You can fill out a prayer request form. It'll come to me after for blessing, and it'll also go to our larger prayer ministry as well. And before we see our announcements and greet one another, I just want to let you know Diane Robertson is getting ordained tomorrow at Unity Village. And I'll be flying out there tonight. And it will be live streamed, and I'll put a link on the Seattle Unity Facebook. So if you want to watch it, it's at 2 o'clock Pacific time. Okay, that said, and we're going to celebrate her by the way, on July 10th. We're going to have a Yay Diane party on that Sunday. So just so you know, we're going to pull out the stops and celebrate her. Okay, let's all stand and greet one another.
wherever you are in the room, make a place where you can stand and move. We're going to do one more up-tempo, sing-alongable type of thing. And as always in Unity, you're free to not sing. If you don't want to sing, we don't know what place you're in. You're in the room, and we're glad for that. But this song is an invitation to sing if you want to. There are very few places in the world where you're allowed to just sing out strong without somebody looking at you like you're nuts. Same thing with movement, too. We like to get our energy upwards, and then we focus that energy into meditation. But first we got to get it upwards, right? So there'll be moments for you to dance around a little. Jesse Whitford is here playing drums today. We don't get drums every service. We will when we get into the new building. But when he's here, I do like to take advantage and do a little stomp and stepping. Somebody's knocking at my door. Somebody's knocking at my door. Oh, Spirit, I'm bound to answer. Somebody's knocking at my door. So we picked this one for today because we are talking about service, what it means to be in service. And I hope that there's somebody in your life who is going to come and knock at your door and say, like, hey, here's why I need you. Can you please be here? And then you have to make a decision. Is this going to happen or not going to happen? So I'm knocking at your door right now saying, like, can you move your spine? 1, 2, here we go. Somebody's knocking at my door. Oh, oh, yeah. Somebody's knocking at my door. Oh, Spirit, I'm bound to answer. Somebody's knocking at my door. Somebody's calling my name. Somebody's calling out my name. Somebody's calling out my name. Oh, Spirit, I'm bound to answer. Somebody's calling out my name. Somebody's crying in the night. Somebody's crying in the night. Somebody's crying in the night. Oh, Spirit, I'm bound to answer. Somebody's crying in the night. Somebody's knocking. Somebody's knocking at my door. Knock. Somebody's knocking at my door. Oh, Spirit, I'm bound to answer. Somebody's knocking at my door. Please be seated. Hopefully you can feel your blood moving, your breath moving. And we'll focus that and ramp down into a more contemplative part of the service, which includes a 3-minute silent meditation. To move into that place, I want to invite Andrea Carino, who is one of my favorite people and is also on our board. She's going to sing this next chant the first time through, and she'll play some flute as well. It is Jaya Hanuman, and I will let Andrea explain the Hanuman.
Well, Jaya, first of all, is victory. Victory to all of us that we realize who we actually are. And in Hanuman's case, he is in the monkey form and sometimes has to be reminded of who he is. So God, in the form of Ram, comes to Hanuman and reminds him, just look inside of yourself and you will find God. So Hanuman looks down at his chest and realizes when he opens, he gets excited like that. And he opens his heart and sees the whole world, the whole universe. He sees God within himself. So this will help us remind us that we have that in us too. It's all the same, all one. Jaya Hanuman, Jaya Hanuman, Jaya Hanuman, Jaya Hanuman. Join us. Jaya Hanuman, 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 Jaya Once more. Jai Hanuman, Jai Hanuman, Jai Hanuman, Jai
take me and lead me by your will. Here I am, Lord, ready to follow and serve you, to love you, be you in this world. Thy will is done through me this day. Thy will is done through me this day. Lord, you call, I answer. I'm open, I listen. I hear you, feel your love in me. Lord, I come closer, humble, surrendered, and lifted, committed to your plan. Thy will is done through me this day. Thy will is done through me this day. Thy will is done through me this day. Thy will is done through me
Thank you, Aaron. That's a beautiful rendition of that song for many of us who know that. It's an appropriate song considering Diane again is getting ordained tomorrow. It's one of the standards that they usually sing at the ordination services. So in Unity, we use the Bible as the story of our soul's unfoldment. So every story is the story of where we are and awakening to the Spirit of God, to awakening to a higher consciousness. And because we've been involved in this building project, of course, for me, for us, the Exodus story has been, kind of what's been up. Because the Exodus story shows a shift from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. Egypt represents material consciousness. The Israelites represent spiritual. And so they're moving away from material consciousness into this spiritual awareness. So the deal is, though, that once the Israelites left Egypt, they did not automatically enter the promised land. So even though they wanted a shift in consciousness, didn't really happen right away because, as you know, they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. And metaphysically, the number 40 means as long as it takes. So it rained, you know, and when it rained 40 days and 40 nights. In the story of Noah, when Jesus was in the wilderness, he was there 40 days and 40 nights. And the Israelites wandered in the wilderness for 40 years, or as long as it takes. Now, I would assume that those last years must have been extremely trying for them. You know, thinking, are we ever going to get there? Or are we going to stay here forever? And the truth is that they had to wait for a generation to die before they could enter the promised land. Because the Israelites seemed to complain about everything. You know, the Bible records 14 times, but I'm sure it was more than that. And in Numbers 11, verses 1 and 2, it says, "And the people complained in the hearing of the Lord about their misfortunes. And when the Lord heard it, his anger was kindled, and the fire of the Lord burnt among them and consumed some of the outlying areas of the camp. And then the people cried out to Moses, and Moses prayed to the Lord, and the fire died down." So, before the Israelites could enter the promised land, again, the generation had to die out, and the complainers had to go. So, metaphysically, this also means that a change in consciousness has to happen. So, when we find ourselves endlessly complaining, we get stuck in our current circumstances, and we are unable to move forward. Richard Bach said, "Argue your limitations, and they are yours." So the other part of this story is that when we do make a change in life, when we let go and we're ready to move into this new place, there may be, and usually is, a liminal period where you're in between the old and the new. Like you're not quite there yet, but you haven't quite left the old. So again, it must have been very difficult for the Israelites to endure those last years in the wilderness, wondering if it would ever come to an end. And in some ways, our building project has been our time in the wilderness. And sometimes I wonder, is it ever going to end? So like the number 40, it is taking as long as it takes. And it'll all be in divine order. Right now, we are waiting for a fire inspection, to pass the fire inspection, and then we can begin to move the furniture in. So the date of the opening keeps moving and changing, and we're being flexible with that. Because again, we're at the end of the wilderness and ready to step in, but maybe it'll be July. So as we know, our theme for this year is the Tree of Life, and this month the focus is on branches. We've looked at the different ways that we can branch out. We branch out through learning and adventures. We branch out to touching one another and connecting, and we branch out when we connect to the presence and the power of God. And we are the welcoming branches of unity. And so I invite you to be conscious and be aware to reach out to a branch near you. Is there someone that you haven't seen for a while and you wonder how they're doing? Because, you know, especially with this COVID thing that we've been living through, you know, we have lost touch with people. Sometimes we lose touch with friends. And so it's up to us to give them a call, to send them a note, to see if they're okay. And in keeping with the idea of trees, and branches, there are times when a tree needs to be pruned, right? Because pruning can influence the way the tree grows, and it can help it be stronger. So one of the reasons that we tore down the old building was that we knew that we had to change in order to thrive in the South Lake Union neighborhood. Now, we could have moved to a different location and made it easy, but we are recommitting ourselves to the city of Seattle when others are fleeing. And part of that was in our mission statement, we affirmed that we are in the heart of Seattle, and that has always been important to us, that not only are we physically in the heart of Seattle, but we're the soul heart of Seattle. That's our mission. So we knew that this change would create a certain amount of pruning of the community. And then guess what? COVID happened, and there was more pruning. And the truth is, there is a pruning that is happening with churches all around the country. A recent Gallup poll shows that church attendance is decreasing in all denominations. One of the reasons is that people are less inclined to identify with one religion. You know, it used to be, so what religion are you? And, you know, and I know you've heard me say before, I grew up in a neighborhood where me and my cousins were the only ones on our block who were not Catholics. Everybody was a Catholic. And so people are becoming less identified with a specific religion, that is one of the reasons of the decrease. And, you know, really, I think where it's going is that all religions are true. All religions have the truth. It's just a different way of seeing it. And so where we are and where we have been with our tapestries is pulling in and looking at all religions and what their truths are. The decline in church attendance is partly due to the abuse of some of the priests in the Catholic Church. What was once sacred is sometimes now viewed with cynicism. And then you combine that with ministers who abuse their power, with going out of their way to raise money. Like, I don't know how many of you remember Oral Roberts. Remember, he said that if he didn't get a certain amount of money, that God was going to kill him. He also said he had a vision of a 900-foot Jesus that had come to visit him, and so when you donated money, you got a little replica of that Jesus. They would send it to you. And, of course, you know, it was a subject of jokes, and somebody put up a sign by the intersection of the Oral Roberts University that said, it was a warning sign, and it said, "Begin 900-foot Jesus crossing." So, ministers, priests have gotten a bad rap. So the question is, why belong to a spiritual community? When I was in my 20s, I had a great job. I had lots of friends. I was involved with the music scene in Chicago. I had a boyfriend. I loved my life. But the truth is, there was something that was missing for me. And on Saturday nights, I used to work at a disco. And I used to work there till they closed, like at 4 a.m. But I would make sure that I got up early enough to go to a satsang, a chanting and meditation service at my local yoga center, even though I reeked of cigarette smoke. Those are the days when you smoked. And in the afternoon, I would go to the Baha'i temple, and I would spend all Sunday focusing on my spiritual life. And then the rest of the week, I did whatever else I did. But Sunday became very important to me, because what it did is it centered me for the rest of the week. It reminded me of who I truly was, and it helped me to see life in a bigger perspective. So one of the things about coming together in spiritual community is that we get a chance to raise our consciousness together. And what I mean by that is, like, whatever's happening in the world, whether it's, you know, in the country or global or in the building project or in our lives, we have an opportunity to step back and look at it from a higher perspective and go, okay, so what's the lesson here? What is the lesson that I am learning from this situation in my life? And I always like to see it as just putting away, like the Israelites with all their complaining, like just kind of put that aside for a while and go, okay, now I'm standing on the mountaintop, and now I can look out and see the truth. So spiritual community allows us to connect socially and to be with people of like mind. It gives us an opportunity to give back through service. It gives us an opportunity to come together and sing. to pray, to meditate, and we touch each other, online included. So I received this letter a couple of months ago. I just want to share a piece of it. Hello, we do not know each other, but I am reaching out because I was inspired by one of the online Seattle Unity YouTube services that I stumbled upon this morning. It was about letting go. It looks like it was posted about 6 years ago, but it could have been posted 20 years ago or 10 years ago or 10 minutes ago, as far as it applies to me. And then she shared her personal experience. She said, hearing your talk today made me cry, and it was so helpful. It touched my heart, and it reached me at the right day, at the right time, and made me feel very inspired today. So again, we come together and we touch each other, and we don't even know how or when, because that's that when two or more are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst. What am I? It is this presence, right? It is that presence that we increase when we come together. So spiritual community gives us an opportunity to practice unity principles, like prayer. Unity was founded on prayer. And I think that through our prayer chaplaincy program, we honor the lineage of Myrtle Fillmore because unity was founded on prayer. When I arrived here at Seattle Unity in 1990, I have to say that there was a lot of triangulation that was happening and gossip, some gossip. And it was part of the culture. And it's not just, us, it's, lots of places you'll find that. But what I believe is that when the prayer chaplaincy program started in 2001, it changed the culture. It changed who we are. And part of it is there's a core group, and the principles that we abide by are confidentiality, that if you tell me something, I'm not going to run and go tell someone else. I'm going to hold it in my heart. And 2, I behold the Spirit of God in you. And I know that you have the answer to whatever is in your life right now. And my purpose is to see that in you so that you can know that for yourself. And what I have seen over the last 20 years is whether anybody's a chaplain in the chaplain program or not, I have seen that consciousness spread to the entire community. I have been so touched by, number one, the confidentiality that is kept here, that there little to no triangulation ever or gossip. I don't ever hear it. And when people come and visit, they're like, this is such a loving, supportive, amazing community and group of people. And they'll add something else, and it's not phony. It's not put on. It's sincere. Everyone is being very sincere. So I want you to know that it is seen by others. In the book of Matthew 18, Jesus said, I tell you that if 2 of you on earth agree about anything they ask for, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. For where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there am I with them. And so this is what we are doing right now with this building project. I was looking through the notes from our congregational meetings, one from 2017, and I just want to share with you a couple of things that people said that they wanted. I hope that some of the interiors will be recycled to second use, if not used in the new building. And that has happened. We have incorporated some of the, the chancel wall into the lobby and the doors. I hope there is thought toward easy, upgradable technologies for video, audio, recording facilities, not just for the sanctuary, but streaming to all other spaces. That too is happening. Doors that go up and across the ceiling to open the sanctuary to hall and garden windows between the buildings. That too is happening. There is so much light. So what's interesting to me is to go back and to read these notes from these meetings that we had so many years ago, and then to see it being manifested. So yes, our time in the wilderness is coming to an end. And those of us who are here in this room and online, you are the heart of this community. You are the core of this community. Diane shared a few weeks ago that the center of the tree trunk is called the heartwood. Heartwood is the central supporting pillar of the tree. You are the central supporting pillar of this community. Do you feel it? Can you embody it? So we have an amazing opportunity in front of us. And that is not just to inhabit a new and beautiful space, but to build on the consciousness of those who went before us. So a month or two ago, we were walking through the building, and I think it was Paul who said, when we were standing in the sanctuary, the new sanctuary, we noticed how silent it was, how quiet, not just by your ear, but there was a presence that just pulled you in the center. And Paul said, you know, I think it was all the prayers and all the worship and everything that's been happening in this space for so many decades that it's still there and that it's carried through. And I believe that all of that energy, all of that love, all of that consciousness that we put into that, the old space is still there. So as we begin to move forward, as we begin to move in, I want you to know that your service is needed, that your face is needed, your hands are needed, your love and support are needed. And so we're going to be reaching out and asking for your help. It's not unlike what you do when you're throwing a party at your house, right? You got to get it all cleaned up, you got to get everything in order, got to get the food, and then you want to welcome. You want to welcome your guests. And so you are the welcoming presence. You are the hosts of this community. Because as we move forward, we are welcoming those in the Seattle area who are in need of being seen and supported on their spiritual journey. Because they may have everything else going in their lives. Great jobs, great friends, but there might be something missing. And it's that connection to God. It's that connection to a higher power, a higher source, and to creating that, sustaining that, and building that in community. So our lineage from Myrtle, Fillmore, and Charles is alive and strong. I'll be at Unity Village tomorrow, again, supporting Diane as she gets ordained. And so let's just take a moment to become still and close with a prayer. So, Divine Presence, we have been pruned. We have been in this wilderness experience for as long as it takes. And so we are ready. Thy will be done through me. May it be done as I show up in community. May it be done in my life with every person that I touch. And may I be the branches on this unity tree that reaches out and touches, that reaches out and heals, that reaches out and makes a difference in this world. As we are awakened, as we are enlightened. And it is for this awareness and in the name and through the power of the living Spirit of truth that we do say, thank you and amen.
Sometimes I just want to close my eyes and pretend that everything's alright when I know it's not. This world needs love, but it's easier to stand and watch. I could say a prayer and just move on like that's enough. But I refuse, 'cause I don't want to live like I don't care. I don't want to say another empty prayer. Oh, I refuse to sit around and wait for someone else to do what God has told me to do myself. Oh, I could choose not to move, but I refuse. I could say the least of these, crying out so desperately. I know I'm the hands and feet of you, oh God. So if you say move, it's time for me to follow through and do what I was made to do and show them who we are. 'Cause I don't want to live like I don't care. I don't want to say another empty prayer. Oh, I refuse to sit around and wait for someone else to do what God has told me to do myself. Oh, I could choose not to move, but I refuse to stand and watch the weary and lost cry out for help. I refuse to turn my back and try to act like all is well. I refuse to stay unchanged, wait another day and doubt myself. I refuse to make a one more excuse. 'Cause I don't want to live like I don't care. I don't want to say another empty prayer. Oh, I refuse to sit around and wait for someone else to do what God has told me to do myself. Oh, I could choose not to move, but I refuse. Oh, I refuse.
So we come to that time in our service where we share our tithes and our love offerings. And so I invite you to, if you're giving in the room, the box is over there to put checks and cash in. And if you're giving on your phone, you can text to give at 206-350-8448. It's very easy. Just type it in there and send your receipt right away, and it's great. So however you give, know that we are grateful for your generosity. I give willingly, joyfully, and lovingly, knowing that God is the constant source of my supply. I give with graciousness and receive with gratitude. And so we do dedicate and consecrate these gifts to the will, the work, and the way of the living Spirit of truth. Amen. I want to let you know that our chaplains are in the back of the room. Would you please raise hands? It's Colleen and Susan, and they would be happy to pray with you. So please see them following the service. So now I invite you to move your attention to your heart as we send forth this light and these blessings to Diane, to Karen, to Kathleen and Mike, to Lee and Diana, to Mike and David. We take a deep breath and we send this light and divine order to Arlene, to Rob and family, Louise and Rose and Maggie. We take another breath and send our love to Lauren, Elena, to Erica and Mason, to Dee, to April, and to Gary. And once again, recentering ourselves. Seeing the highest and best manifesting for Martha and Bert, Barb and Mary, for Stephanie, for Pam, Wendy and David, Sandra, Becky, Scott, and Julie. And if anyone else comes to your mind, I invite you to speak their names now. And we hold Ukraine in our prayers and all who are suffering. As we join together in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Heather. I want to thank our team up here, Greta Ferguson. And hey, I just want to say hi to Greta. Greta has a baby, Ben. And I want to say hi. Hi, Ben. Hi, Ben. Ben's like 2. Hi. Makes a difference. Also, thank you to our band, Jesse, Olivia, David, our tech team today, Nick, and also Ben. And I want to remind everyone that next week is Father's Day, so I'm making that Father's Day video slideshow, and these are always great. This is you see these vintage pictures of people in, from their World War II uniforms, or pictures of daddies from like the 2001s or something like that. They're so wonderful. Please send your pictures in. If I have a picture of you or as a dad or grandfather, or a picture of your dad or grandfather, if I have it already, let me know. Give me permission. I'm not allowed to run it until I have your actual permission again. You can go to our website for my email address on that. But for right now, I'm going to ask you to stand as you are able. We're going to sing a closing song together, Wherever I Am. Wherever I am, God